Radio.
I will give you my heart. I will give you my soul. I will give you every fiber of my being. I will give you my blood. I will give you my sweat. And one way or the other, I feel like I may give you my tears. The one thing, though, that I am 100% sure about is that at Full Gear, I will give you cowboy shit.
The Elite does not have any losers in our group.
FuzzJockRadio.
Woo! Yeah, thank you, audience. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Oh, boy. No losers in this group here. Not at all, because we're FuzzJockRadio. I am one of your Hests, Fuzzy. We have another Hest all the way out in California, and his name is...
C-Dubs.
And we have a longtime listener, first-time Hest, Micah.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Micah here is, like I said, longtime listener, first-time Hest, and it's great. So what's really awesome about this, let me get into my mode. I need to get into my mode here. Ready? I'm in my mode now. Ready?
I'm ready.
I don't know if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
You're cocked back and ready. I'm ready, too.
We're just excited to have an athlete on the show.
Micah is an athlete. He is also a longtime listener, first-time Hest, like I said, right? Which doesn't make it any... Well, he might be one of the best Hests in the building now, right? Because he's already listened, and he knows things, right? Charles? Are you paying attention to me?
We can't have a hierarchy at any point.
There is no hierarchy, but what I want to just say is that we don't have to explain what Hests are to this Hest.
That's true.
And that's something. That's something. I don't know where I'm going with this. This might be a precursor to the eventual episodes in the future where, like this is a foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing a change. Wink, wink. They do that stuff in wrestling, right? They do foreshadowing for like heel turns, like Cody Rhodes is currently doing. But we'll talk about AEW in later in the episode. I'm just excited. I went to Full Gear, and yeah, okay. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
I'm not. I'm just anticipating.
Okay. So we're here with Micah. We're here with C-Dubs and Fuzzy. And the way we like to start our episodes is asking how our week went this last week. What's going on, Charles? How you doing? What's up?
I'm good. I watched Full Gear, and that was fantastic. That was my weekend. And I also I had a procedure, and so I'm recovering from that. And
what type of procedure? Do you want to talk about that, or is that like one of those like medical things that you...
I decided to do the right thing and get a vasectomy.
You got your balls cut?
Yep. Just chopped them right off.
Wow.
They didn't
something.
actually cut the balls, right?
No.
Okay, good. Just want to make
No,
sure.
they
I'm not a
pull out the vas
doctor.
deferens. They pull out the vas deferens, and then they just snip a piece of it off, and then they solder it shut, and then they put it back in. And so, yeah.
Oh, I'm familiar. I'm just making sure they didn't sell you up the river here and say, "Yeah, we'll give you a vasectomy," but they actually cut your balls. We don't want that, Charlie.
No.
Well, I went to a vet, so maybe that's why that happened.
Oh. I went to go try to get my vasectomy, and I said try because I passed out, like I fainted right when they touched my balls. So then they're scheduling me for later. Micah.
Yes.
You have never been here.
I've never been here.
Tell us your story from the day you were born to now. How are you? What's going on? You don't have to do that.
Okay.
You can.
Do you just want me to say how my week went, or is that only for Charlie?
Where does the week start?
Well, the week starts
because we know where it ends. It ends here,
It
right?
ends here,
and it's not the end of. It's not the end of the week. It's Monday, but.
Well, on your calendar, maybe you go show to show, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting confused. Time is so confusing nowadays. I don't know if you guys know this, but since COVID hit, I've been in a time warp, and last week feels like tomorrow, and tomorrow feels like 3 years ago, if that makes sense. I believe it does. So why don't you just let us know how, we'll talk about things that you want to talk about later in the episode, but let's talk about what you've been doing since the beginning of time. Is that where we're going with this, Charles? Charles.
Yeah. Start from when you were an amoeba.
All right.
Okay.
Gosh, that's gonna take me a while.
Do you remember that stuff?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm one of the few.
You have a good memory.
I'm one of the few who does. No, I mean I've had a good week. It's been a while since I've seen you, Fuzzy. We were saying that when I first got here. But yeah, raising a kid. I have an almost 2.5-year-old daughter.
You have a kid?
I do have a kid.
Have we seen each other since you had a kid? 2.5.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
2.5.
End of December, she'll be 2.5. So she's almost there. But
I don't like. I quit. I got that blood clot / quit drinking 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, between the pandemic, having a small child, and just life, I wouldn't say I get out as much anymore. So it's like training, racing, family stuff, and work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. So she takes up a lot of our time, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's what kids do.
Yes, a lot of fun, but yeah, spending time raising a child and just getting through this thing we call life.
Are you planning on having 2 kids?
Potentially.
So no vasectomy
no
for you yet?
vasectomy. I do
Not
not
yet.
have one on the calendar.
Not yet.
I feel a little bit left out. Yeah. So third wheel here for sure. But we'll see. We'll see what 2022 brings. We have a trip planned as of now, if all goes according to plan, for Cancun in January.
Ooh.
That could be a last hurrah, or maybe we decide, hey, we had too much fun and having a second kid will not allow us to do this as much in the future. So maybe we stick with one. We'll see.
You'll see.
Yeah.
The future is at the hands of your balls or something, right?
Well, and I don't feel like I'm really the decision maker in this situation. I'm more of a donor, and I'm happy to be a donor. I'm happy to practice, but I don't get to make that final
You're
call.
married.
I am married.
So that means that you have a partner in
Yes,
crime,
I
and
do.
it's not just up to you.
Exactly.
Like it's you have to involve the wife.
I do.
Because you love her.
I do love her very much.
Yes. Okay. So we got that out of the way. Micah had a kid.
I had a kid, and I'm in love with my wife.
Are you ready for some football?
And are you ready for some football? That was really loud. I need to figure that out. Like how to.
You will never figure that out.
One of these days. Right now I'm looking around and I don't have my notebook around me at all. Fuck. I keep forgetting about the notebook too.
The movie?
Oh, that's like isn't that Ben Affleck?
No, that's Ryan
And
Gosling.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner.
Who's Jennifer Gardner?
Yeah. The Minnesota Vikings depraved the LA Chargers of a win.
How dare they?
Well, okay, so you made that note, Charles. By the way, tonight's notes are brought to you by Charles and Company. So what does that mean? Have the Chargers been winning a lot?
Well, the Chargers are about a 500 team, but they're definitely more functional than the Vikings are. So I thought it was very unfortunate to see the Vikings beat a team that's better than them.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with that for sure.
Yeah.
Because like the Baltimore Ravens beat the Vikings and then they lost to a really bad team and like, so the Vikings won is the story, right?
I guess the Vikings sadly won a game.
Sadly won again.
We'll never get anyone fired or replaced if they keep winning games.
No,
And it's just, it means nothing, really. I mean, this season, at least to me, is just, as a Vikings fan, it's so vanilla, and it's like back and forth between we win one, we lose one, or two, we win one. We're going to end up being like 8 and 9, because they have 17 games this year, and not do anything even if we make the playoffs. It's just not an exciting future for the Vikings, at least with this coach, in my opinion.
Do they have a chance for the wild card still, or are they just out of contention?
There's an extra wild card this year, so yes, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. How did your boy Kirk Cousins do?
He looked okay. I mean, 25 for 37. That's not the best. Under 300 yards, but 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Oh, there you go.
Cook was all right. I mean, he almost had 100 yards. touchdowns.
It's so weird.
Averaging about 4 yards a carry.
You're absolutely right with this. It's weird talking about this win because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't feel like it matters.
Right.
And so it's like we should be stoked that they finally won.
And the Chargers are legit, but it doesn't feel like we beat a real team. I mean, it's just, there's not a lot of energy there.
And there's something to talk about coming out of this game. Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions for 143 yards. But who cares? Because this game sucked even though they won. Does it matter unless you play fantasy?
No, it doesn't.
No. It makes him look good, but it didn't do anything for us.
Yeah,
It
and
didn't make us like turn around the season even though we won the game. I'm less confident in them now than I've been all season.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? We're going to see this kid continue to be really good. He's in his second year. Get to like year 5, we still haven't done anything as a team, and then he'll say, I want to go play somewhere else and win. That's what always happens.
Jefferson?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He'll go join Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, and he'll win his 27th Super Bowl.
Yeah, Brady will be out there with a walker getting to the huddle, but he'll still somehow
throwing
throw 4
dimes.
TDs.
Well, that's the Vikings for you. Cam Newton's back with Carolina, it says. He was playing for New England last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do well. He left Carolina to go to the Patriots and then didn't do shit. And then just came back. Like, he didn't start the season with Carolina, did he?
No, in fact, they didn't even have him play the whole game because he's so fresh off the,
serious,
off the
yeah.
waiver wire.
Says he played about 10 snaps, 1 rushing touchdown and 1 passing touchdown. And then Philip Walker was the quarterback for the rest of the game. Who the hell is Philip Walker?
Right? Who
Paul's
the hell
brother.
is Philip Walker?
Oh,
The guy from Fast and the Furious brother, yeah.
Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Okay. Vin Diesel's best friend, right?
Exactly.
The one thing about this Cam Newton thing, this is the first quarterback who's ever played a Super Bowl for a team, left, and actually come back.
Really?
Like, no, it's a weird stat, but it is the first time. Because usually if you play a Super Bowl with the team and you leave, that's kind of the end of you playing for that team, Like, no one until Cam Newton has ever gone back. So this is the first time that's ever happened.
Well, I like stats, so that's cool. Let's keep track of that stat, see if that ever happens again, and we'll have to do a flashback. Last week we talked a little bit about Rodgers and his COVID status and shit like that, but since we're not a COVID podcast and we don't like talking about people we don't like talking about, he got fined. Packers were fined $300,000, while Rodgers and Lazard were each fined $14,650, according to the discipline schedule negotiated by the NFL and NFL Players Association. They determined that Rodgers and each attended a Halloween party despite being unvaccinated, a violation of protocols prohibiting unvaccinated players from gathering outside the team's facilities. So, it's not, they didn't fine them very much, in relation to how much they're making.
Mm-hmm.
But was that what the fine was going to be anyway?
Yeah, it's what they negotiated
So
for the Players Association.
I always found it when I was asking myself how the NFL should handle this. I found myself thinking that it's going to be really hard for them to even do a fine, since they knew about his unvaccinated status in the first place.
Yeah, and they let it go.
They're already stuck in a rock and a hard place with that.
You know what? So I just did the math here. Do you know what percentage of his salary that fine was?
Like what? Like 3%?
0.0009966.
Holy shit!
God.
$14,000 to an NFL star who makes $14.7 million. At least if Google's telling me the truth.
Yeah.
Per year. That's just ridiculous. That's like someone telling you, here, give me $1.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
give me a
whatever.
buck.
Yeah. Nuts.
You were really bad, so give me $1.
Wow. Okay. Well.
That's your punishment.
Fuck you, NFL.
Yeah.
Baseball is fun again in Minnesota.
And as we all know, baseball is not going on in Minnesota right now because it is becoming winter. And I don't know if you know, Micah, but during the winter they don't play baseball.
Really?
Not in Minnesota anyway.
Well, they get their obligatory 6 days off of the MLB season before pitchers and catchers report, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
basically.
So,
Yep.
We're in that period now. That's good.
Yeah.
However, there is news that happens still in the baseball world, and even though they're not playing, which is weird, we all know that's very strange that there's still news going on. The Rookie of the Year was announced today, and who was that, Charles?
Randy Rosarena was named the American League Rookie of the Year. So this is the first announcement of the week's announcements of all the, the trophies they're going to give out that don't mean shit, Cy Young and all that stuff, Rookie of the Year, MVP.
Rookie of the Year.
I mean, they mean stuff, but they're not, everyone wants to win a World Series. They don't really want these.
Well, rookies won a Rookie of the Year award.
That's true.
Right?
I mean,
you only can be a rookie once, and that's a hard
true.
reward
Be the
award
best
to
of
get.
all of them.
The last Rookie of the Year I cared about was that 90s film.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
That's the one with the kid with the pitching arm, right?
Yep.
Because there were two movies where kids did something with baseball in close proximity with each other. The other one was, I forget the name of it, but the kid got the Minnesota Twins, right, from his grandpa or something. He inherited them.
Major League?
No, not Major League.
No, not Major League. No. It's shit.
Was it the Twins that he got?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets the Twins. He manages the Twins.
Yep.
That's
God damn it.
really cool.
I'm
Was
looking this
Kirby
up.
Puckett in it?
I don't remember, but sorry, I'm throwing you guys off track.
No, that's all right. That's something that
Little Big League.
Little Big
Yeah,
League.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, why do I think it's Major League? It's
There
'cause
was a
Little
league
Big
in there.
League.
Yeah.
I remember that one too.
It's a good movie.
Rookie of the Year was the kid broke his arm and then he was able to
Throw a million miles per hour.
pitch really fast, and he did that. He winked into the camera. Remember?
And then there was also Angels in the Outfield around that
Yeah.
time,
And there also was Angels in the Outfield wasn't out yet. No, it was.
no, I'm
90s?
just saying that was like a little later.
There was also Sandlot.
Sandlot,
Mhm.
classic.
Yep. And what else? What other baseball movies are there? Major League,
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own, and then there's also Major League
Major League.
and League of Their Own.
The Shining.
The Shining's not baseball.
Oh no, sorry.
Well,
I like that. No, it's like
We all know what that sound means, or what this jingle is. It's time for the
Buzz Question of the Week.
so the Fuzz Question of the Week is when I ask the Hess a question, and then they answer that question with their answer that they think is correct, and then they'll explain why their answer is the correct answer, and then we move on. We don't discuss why their answer is bad or wrong or anything. We don't discuss it. We just move on. But so understand, guys?
Got it.
And then Charles, remind me to scroll back up the notes because I scrolled down a little bit.
Yep, I see that. I will remind you.
Okay. How do you see? How do you see that?
I can see the notes on my end and know where your sound effects are.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, the question of the week this week is, Charles, ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which baseball movie is your favorite?
Sandlot.
And why?
Because it's more like you can fantasize that like being something that you can live through easier.
Okay.
Everything else is that's it.
Okay. Micah, which baseball movie is your favorite?
What if I have the same answer?
It's okay. You probably don't have the same reason. Do
No.
you? No.
I don't think so. I would say The Sandlot as well. It's just nostalgia wrapped into a movie. I mean, like Charlie said, kind of, but you absolutely did that as a kid. Most kids did that, right? Pick up your glove and ball and go play with your friends. And maybe it wasn't even baseball. Maybe it was football or night games or whatever. But it's that reminder of what life was like before technology took over. And we are all around the same age, so we can understand that kind of turning point. So anyway, it's totally this nostalgia for me, and I grew up loving baseball.
I like that. My answer is not the Sandlot, and it's because I did not have that feeling when I was a kid. I was left out. My friends would do that, but I would sit at home and play Doom on my home computer.
Buzz question of the week.
Push that too soon. That was way too soon, guys. My answer is, what was it? I had a great answer. It was the one with Tom Hanks in it.
A League of Their Own?
A League of Their Own, yeah. With Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell and all those awesome ladies. Gina Davis. She's really awesome, right? Like,
You get that amazing line, there's no crying in baseball.
Yep.
there is no crying in baseball. Yeah, it's a great movie. And, woman empowerment and stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. League of Their Own. Great movie. Great movie. And that was our...
Buzz question of the week.
Yeah, I did it right. That was good. Okay.
FuzzJockRadio.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!
Basketball. The Timberwolves.
FuzzJockRadio.
We were watching the game. I don't remember. Did they lose?
They lost.
Yeah, it was a really close game. The Minnesota Timberwolves also announced today that the team has transferred two-way forward Nathan Knight from the Iowa Wolves, the team's NBA G League affiliate. In 3 games with the Timberwolves, Knight has totaled 4 points and 2 rebounds. But yeah, the Timberwolves lost tonight. They also lost...
They've lost a lot recently.
Recently.
Like 5
November
games, I
1st,
think,
November
ago?
3rd, November 5th, November 8th, November 10th, November 12th they won, and then November 13th they lost again, and then tonight they lost again. So they're on a skid.
Have they not lost a lot in the last, 17 years?
Yeah, but this year was going to be our year.
Oh.
We got the new ownership coming. We got this new coach, Mr. Finch, and we got the rookie of the year. No, he didn't get the rookie of the year last year, did he?
I don't think
But we
he
have
did.
Anthony Towns, and we have Carl with his best friend D'Angelo Russell. Like, it's the year. And then when they started, they won 5 games in a row.
And then they fell apart.
They beat the Lakers the other day.
Was LeBron playing?
No.
Yeah.
But they had a third quarter that was 40 points. They had 40 points in one third quarter to their 12.
Well, you know what? Sounds like they came close. And close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, friends.
Oh, boy.
Correct.
Oh, boy. How about bocce ball?
They do look good, though.
Okay,
I
yeah.
wish it meant something.
Touche. That's a good point.
Bocce ball is a fun game. Don't forget about bocce ball.
My wife and I bought a set 2 summers ago. It's great fun.
Maybe you guys should come over and play bocce ball in my backyard one of these days.
Well, it sounds like your backyard is huge.
It is a big backyard, and it's got a kind of a hill going on a little bit, so it makes it a little bit more challenging.
We should start a bocce ball league in Mankato where we go to people's
goodness.
houses. How fun would that
Oh
be?
my goodness.
Then we could have Fuzz Bocce Radio.
Yeah, well, we're sponsored by FuzzJockRadio.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is sponsored by Fuzz Talk Radio.
Yeah.
And you guys can have the championship out here in my giant backyard.
Oh my goodness.
What is it, an ocean?
Do
Do you live on the
No,
beach,
but I have a really big
Charles?
backyard to be perfect for bocce ball.
Oh boy.
That could be the
Would that be the final finals?
Yeah.
World championship.
Finals. World championship finals. The Timberwolves got into a little bit of trouble the other day. Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lohr had the team practice outside of Minnesota, which is against the rules. The NBA fined the Timberwolves on Monday today $250,000 for organizing off-season practice outside of the Minnesota area.
That's almost the same amount the Packers got fined. for COVID
Wow,
protocol,
you're
Sadly
right.
true.
injury, like death or
Wow.
sickness.
In a news release, the NBA said its rules prohibit teams from arranging or paying for off-season practice or group workout sessions for their players outside the team's home market. And the funny thing is that Lore wasn't very private about the workouts. He posted on his Twitter account about the gatherings, including pictures of him pretending to shoot a basketball. So like these guys, they don't like.
They're just trying to get the team kicked out of the state.
Wow.
Yeah, then they can go to Seattle.
Yep.
I honestly would not be surprised.
Wow.
Like,
Wow. Because they know the rules, even though they're not basketball people, they still know the rules, right? Like somebody would have told them you can't do this.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like
The players knew.
they'll
They didn't care. They're like, oh, he says to do it. He's their boss.
The Timberwolves are currently in 12th place in the Western Conference. The Lakers are in 7th, and Golden State Warriors are first.
At least we're not as bad as the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, 1-12. Holy cow. 1-12.
What is slashing?
Slashing is like that, you know?
We are just moving along. The hockey, the Wild have games played, 14 games played. They are currently 10-4 with 20 points.
So we've got the hockey expert on, and we were going to ask you about points.
Yeah,
So you
what
can
are
explain
points?
how hockey points work.
so hockey standings are based on points. If you win in regulation, you get 2 points. If you lose in regulation, 0. Now, if you win in overtime, you also get 2 points, but the team that loses in overtime or a shootout gets 1 point. So you get rewarded for tying.
Okay, so
Or excuse me, not tying, but losing in
If-
extra periods.
If you win, you get how many points?
2.
And if you lose, you get how many points?
0.
0. And if you tie, you get 1.
No ties.
No ties.
No
No
ties.
ties in hockey?
No ties in hockey. And in
Oh,
the
because
NHL.
you have a shootout.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you're the losing team, but you make it to overtime or the shootout, you still get a point in the standings.
You get a 1 point?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 2 points for winning, 0 points for losing, 1 point if you go into overtime.
Yep.
Do you get 3 points for anything?
No.
So 2 points is the most.
2 points is the
And
most.
0 is the least. You can't go into negative points.
No negative points.
No negative points. Okay. So then if
What
you
about half points?
No half points either.
yeah, that's
Okay.
we got to worry about half points.
No fractions, man.
So then why do
The Wild.
then why do you keep track of wins and losses and not just points?
Well, because if you have a team, for example, that has the same number of points at the end of the season as another team, then you start looking into regulation and overtime wins versus shootouts. So technically, a shootout win can be worth less than a regulation or overtime win, because that's one of the first deciding factors if a team has the same amount of points.
Wow.
Then you look at ROW, which is regulation or overtime wins.
So do wins and losses even matter?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
all
so
points.
confused.
It's just a different way to
What does OTL stand for?
overtime loss. So that's
Okay.
where you get the 1 point.
Okay.
So you see in the standings that you're looking at right now, W win, obviously L loss,
Yep.
OTL overtime loss.
Okay, and then points.
Yep.
20.
And a really cool thing that happened during the last Wild game, Rem Pitlick, who we added this year, he played for the University of Minnesota. I'm not sure how many years, but anyway, he scored his first NHL goal. But guess what?
Huh.
He had a hat trick. So his first 3 NHL goals came in the form of a hat trick in the same game as his first goal.
And a hat trick is having
3 goals.
3 goals in one game?
Yes.
Does that include overtime?
Yeah, it can include anything,
any-
but they didn't go to overtime.
Okay.
He just scored straight up 3 goals, but the exact same game as his first NHL goal. So he gets all 3 right away.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, super fun.
When do they throw squids on the Because you throw a hat on when somebody gets a hat trick, you throw your hat out onto
Yeah.
the field.
I don't really know the history with the squid. I believe it's Detroit. Charlie, maybe you
No.
know. No?
It's Nashville.
No.
It's the Predators.
They throw squids? I thought it was
Pretty-
Detroit.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, you
I'll
look it up.
How about fish? I've seen people throw fish on the field.
I'm not sure,
Or
honestly.
milk cartons.
I don't know. I'm
That's the
familiar
new
with
trend.
hats, but
Throw the milk cartons on the field of the hockey stadium when the goalie gets the third hat trick of the season, right?
flawlessly stated.
Yes,
Flawlessly.
yes. Oh man. Are we gonna go to another sports? Do we have anything else? Oh,
You're right. It is Detroit. It is
Yeah.
Detroit.
Kaprizov.
You're right.
Yeah.
What do you think about that guy?
So, Kaprizov obviously had a fantastic year last year.
Mhm.
This guy came over. He was as dynamic as everyone
From Russia,
thought.
right?
Yes. After we waited for a really long time. So he started at age 23, which is actually not uncommon for Russian players. We've
Okay.
seen it with other Russian players in the past, but someone like Ovechkin, he came over right away at 18. But Kaprizov, yeah, he had a great year last year. He's still putting up, I think he has 10 points in 13 games, which in hockey is very solid. He's
Okay.
only scored 3 goals so far. He doesn't look quite as quick this year as he did last year, but
Did he put on some weight or something? Or what?
I'm not sure. I think it could be a little bit of the sophomore slump, right? You come in, you blow the league
Sure,
up,
sure,
everyone's
sure.
singing your praises. He won Rookie of the Year, which was a first for Minnesota.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, he did. And so he's probably just dealing with a little bit of that hangover. But if this is him, quote unquote, struggling, and he still has 10 points in 13 games, we're going to be just fine. And the thing about the Wild this year is they are getting so much depth scoring.
Wait a minute. So teams can get points.
Yeah.
And now Kaprizov, as an individual player, can get points?
Well, it's his stats. It's like
Well, how does he get points? Like
comparative to a quarterback's passing yards. You know, you score a goal, you get an assist. Those are your points.
Oh, okay, because they can't get yards. They can't get like, oh, that was a 30-yard
Correct.
goal.
Yeah. It's goals and assists. Those are the two big ones.
Okay, and then so a
And
goal.
then plus minus, but I don't want to confuse you too much.
No.
so we don't have to get into
We're gonna
that.
get into this.
Okay.
So a goal is how many points?
Just one.
And then an assist is how many points?
Just one.
Not half a point.
Not half a point.
And how do you get into negative points?
You don't. But you can get a negative plus minus.
What is that?
So if you're on the ice when your team scores,
Okay.
you get a plus. If you're on the ice when your team gets scored against, you get a minus.
As an individual player.
As an individual player. So that way you can look at someone and let's say the intent of them
boy.
being on the team was to be more of in a defensive role, right?
Yeah.
So you know they're not going to score a lot of goals, they're not going to get a lot of assists, but maybe they have a really good plus minus because they're defending the other team's players.
Okay.
So it's just another measure of how well you're performing.
Charles, did you play hockey?
I played floor hockey. I was too poor to play ice hockey.
Yeah.
It is a super
My
expensive
sister ended
sport.
up playing ice hockey
That
though.
was my thing. That was my thing too. This is confusing. Not really, but it kind of is. So that's just for individual stats.
Yeah.
And then so you have is that in plus minus is like a category in itself?
Yeah, it's part of the stat sheet, if you
Okay.
will.
So then how does that stat look? Is it like 5 times plus or like is it just plus minus is that
It's a cumulative number. So if let's say I played 10 games and in 5 of them I was +1 and in 4 of them I was -1 and the other one I was even, then my total would be +1 for those 10 games played. So at the end of the season you can see
how much that person played.
well, no, how much they were on the ice for goals against and for.
Oh, sure.
So if you have a really high plus number, that means, this guy, when he's on the ice, we tend to score a lot and don't give up as many goals.
And then if you have a high minus number, because you can have a high plus number and you can have a high minus number.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Okay.
there are people who, for their careers, they're like -150.
Okay. It's not that they influence each other, or directly, they influence each other indirectly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting this, Charles. I'm
Yes.
getting it. I'm understanding stuff. So Kaprizov, good acquisition.
Yes.
Was it worth that wait? Because like I heard that his Russian counterparts were like, "Yo, give us money."
Yeah.
Like they were doing the Russian thing, right?
It was a total stalemate for several months, and that could be part of the reason why he's a little bit behind, honestly. He got over here in time for training camp, but it was right at the 11th hour. They were really trying to milk every cent out of the Wild that they could.
There was a point where it seemed like the Wild weren't even going to get him. Like they were going to say, fuck you. We don't need him.
It kind of got to that point because the dude, he had a great year, but he played 53 NHL games. And you're trying to get $9 million a year and they wanted a short term too. So he could go back out on the market. But of course the Wild want to keep his rights as long as possible. So that was the stalemate. They were willing to give him a lot of money, but they wanted to get more term. So they settled on 5 years. But they were trying to lock him down for the maximum 8-year deal.
What do you feel? How do you feel? They're gonna win the Stanley Cup this year?
I wouldn't go that far. I'm a Minnesota sports fan and always have been, so I don't ever get my hopes up too much. But I will say I'm encouraged by the team because they have, like I mentioned before, so much depth scoring, which means, you have 4 forward lines, 3 people per line, center, right wing, left wing in hockey.
Okay.
Your top 2 lines are typically the lines you look at that are going to score most of the goals. And then your bottom 2 are the guys who are playing more of a defensive game, bringing energy, all of that. Well, we are getting tons of goals from our 3rd and 4th line, even when some of our top players aren't scoring as much as we would expect.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
Good for the bench players.
I'm excited.
Yeah. That's fun.
I think this is one of the best Wild teams I've seen start a season ever.
Yeah.
Really? Even compared to like that big season with the Preezy and the Zucker and all those big names?
They didn't start this hot.
No, and, Parise and Suter are gone for the first time in 9 years.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember how excited everybody was getting them.
And I was very excited, and I don't want to take anything away from the two of them. I completely appreciated everything they did for Minnesota. Yeah, we didn't win the Stanley Cup, and there was some lack of playoff success, but they got us to the playoffs like 8 of those 9 years. We won a couple rounds, so it was exciting, and they've departed, and I think it was time, and it sounds like maybe there were some issues going on in the locker room too, so it was more about changing the personalities as well. And now we have a different leadership group. We have a couple guys who have been around for many, many years, but the team just really seems to be meshing well. There's chemistry there, and they're all supporting each other.
That's what we're seeing with the Timberwolves, even though the Timberwolves are losing. That's why we're excited about the Timberwolves.
Well, it's a spark, right? Only takes a spark to start a fire. Who's saying
the
that
Wild
song?
have speed finally.
They do. Yep.
They finally are a fast team.
Up and down the lineup, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to get to this next topic, other sports, which is cool. It's cool that we have other sports coming up because I'm not going to play this anymore. I don't like this.
Don't play the whole thing.
I don't like this thing anymore. It goes all the way. It just keeps on doing this stuff, whatever. Other sports. We got an actual athlete in the building. Micah is an athlete, and he does these things called Spartan challenges.
Spartan race.
Well,
Sorry.
Charles,
I know what I put in the notes.
Remember, audience, that these notes are brought to you by Charles tonight. It does say Spartan challenges, but it's more Spartan races.
Yes, Spartan race. That is the brand.
And so you go. We were talking about your times and stuff because the Mankato Marathon just recently happened, and they put your times in with the marathon. So like I just assumed that it was just like a marathon where you're just running because it's a race, and that's what you do.
So I ran the Mankato Marathon 5K. That's just a road race here recently because it was in Mankato, and I just wanted to go out and see how I could do with my 5K.
And you're an athlete, and
yeah,
why not? That's what athletes do, Charles.
I did the half here a couple years ago. But yeah, what I typically do, they're called obstacle course races. Spartan Race is the most prominent brand in OCR, which is the acronym for it. And yeah, Spartan is kind of like a league, and basically what you do is you run through really rugged terrain at varying distances and have to go through barbed wire and crawl over walls and carry heavy things and go through monkey bars and what they call multi-rigs, where there are all these different hanging implements that you have to work your way through, all while traversing this really technical, in most cases, trail running course. And in Spartan, they have kind of three main distances: the sprint, which is roughly a 5K with 20 obstacles; the super, which is roughly a 10K with 25 obstacles; and then the beast, which is around a half marathon with 30 plus obstacles. And for those who are not familiar with 5K, 10K, it's 3.1 miles for a 5K, 6.2 for a 10. But Spartan's never really precise with those distances. It's just kind of around there.
Sure.
And yeah, so it takes different training for each one, but they get progressively more difficult based on the distance.
So, like, you're basically you're describing either what is that thing called? Ultimate Dragon, Ultimate
American Ninja Warrior,
American Ninja Warrior, or like
American Gladiators,
or like a military workout or training.
Yeah. So honestly, obstacle course racing is rooted in military obstacle work. That's where it started.
I mean, as soon as I heard barbed wire, I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, this sounds like the things I see when they're trying to recruit people.
It's cargo nets. You think about swinging across rings or bars, and you do that while doing a really tough trail race. And this year was the first time that I did a mountain race. So they have, the terrain is different on every single course. And I went to Utah for this race.
Okay.
And you're literally at altitude, right? You're up in the mountains. So that makes it already more difficult for someone who's not acclimated. We're sea level people.
Yeah.
But yeah, this course was 14 miles long with 4,000 feet of climbing.
Wow.
So you add that in with 34 obstacles. And I mean, it took me 3 hours and 6 minutes.
Dude, how do you train for something like that?
I mean, so
they tell you where the course is, and you look at the course, go to the course and look at it, and you're like, okay, this is what it is, and then you just start like lifting weights.
You can only study so much, especially when you're far away, right? There's always an element of unknown and surprise with these races, which is part of the allure, I guess. But you have to do a lot of running, and that's something. So I've been doing this. I started in 2017. That was the first time I ever did a race, an obstacle race. My friend got me into it. He's one of my best friends, Josh, so shout out to him. I'll have him listen to this. But yeah, he's like, dude, you got to try this. I was never a runner. I always kind of lifted weights here and there, but
I was just gonna ask, before 2017, were you into sports and stuff?
So I played baseball my whole life growing up. I played hockey for many years when I was younger, organized sport.
But you're an adult now.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were in a sport before 2017?
Always, honestly.
Yeah?
I played softball. I have that.
You played hockey.
I played hockey.
Yep, too, right?
And I played hockey now.
Okay.
After
high school, you kept being athletic.
Yeah,
I've
always,
me, where
I've always been interested in athletics and competition, so I was always doing something. But yeah, he introduced me to this. I had never run, and it was it wasn't a Spartan race. It was called the Muck Run. It was like a multiple sclerosis fundraiser, but they did this kind of obstacle course, but it was definitely more geared towards fun, right? It wasn't really challenging. It wasn't really heavy competition, but I did that with him. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he got me to do a Spartan race the next summer. And that's when I was like, whoa, I love this. But I still didn't know anything about training properly, how much to run, all of that. So over the last 2.5 years especially, I've really started focusing on the running and training purposefully. But
that's really cool. And a Spartan race, is that a company? Is Spartan the company that provides the course?
Yeah, it's OCR is interesting that way. So Spartan is a brand, they're a company, right? So they put on these races, but they also do ultra races, which are typically 30 miles long. but the Ultra World Championships that they just held in Colorado, that was a 24-hour race. I mean, it gets crazy.
Wow.
And World's Toughest Mudder, I'm sure you guys have heard of Tough Mudder too. World's Toughest Mudder just happened. That's a 24-hour race. But anyway, Spartan is this brand.
How can he run for 24 hours?
People are crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
But
my aunt
pretty
does
wild.
that too. She does marathons. She's
Yeah.
done 24-hour marathons a bunch of times. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So Spartan has other business ventures too, but
Sure.
they're the
Yep.
prominent name in the sport. They run like the biggest, most prestigious league, but there are also other companies like Savage Race that are a regular player in the game. You have a Rugged Maniac group that is a little bit lesser known, but they hold events around the U.S. and then local races too. People will put on just local obstacle course races.
Sure, and just like with wrestling, it's not just WWE,
right?
And then there's local promotions, and there's other companies that are bigger or smaller, and
yeah,
it's just really neat that I don't know. It's just such a neat thing that exists. You know?
It's very niche and it's cool. And actually, to get back to your question about Utah and how do you train for that? So one other thing I want to add is like running uphill is huge in this sport too. Sometimes you'll get a flat course, but you're doing a lot of climbing. So when I bought a treadmill a couple years ago, I got an incline trainer.
Sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It goes up to 40% grade, so I can train there. And then, here, at least Mankato's a little bit hilly for Minnesota. It's still pretty flat, but, I'll run up Stadium Hill and do hill repeats wherever I can. So that's definitely key to training. But yeah, it's lifting, it's grip work. Grip work is really important, so you can get through those monkey bars and swing across the rings and do the rope climbs and all that. But running is the core of it, man.
How many races have you been in now, do you think, since you started?
I would say low 20s.
Okay.
I've done...
So about probably like 24, 25 races altogether?
And I've done 15 Spartans, 2 of which I ran with a family member to help them along, so I wasn't really competing myself. I just had my sister. We were down in Nashville for the last Spartan race I did this year. I raced in Elite, which is the highest level there, on Saturday for the Super, and then I ran alongside my sister in the age group race, which is still competitive, but it's the step down, and just coached her through it, and it was super fun. And then I ran an open race, which is just anyone can do these, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I ran an open race with my wife in February, her first one ever down in Jacksonville, and just kind of coached her along the way too. Yeah, it's super fun.
That's so cool. What's the best place that you've gotten in your races?
Place as far as finishing?
Yeah.
So I won the ERX Extreme 5K in Elk River this year. I also won the Rugged Maniac this year in Minnesota. Out at Wild Mountain in Taylor's Falls. So that was a lot of climbing. It was a 5K distance race, but won that one. And then I overall for the U.S. National Series in Spartan this year, I focused on age group, so I'm in age group 30 to 34. It's, again, step down from the pro level, but still very competitive. Sure. And I won that overall in the series.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's based on points too, so I got 2 second places and a third place in the 3 races I did with that, so.
Yeah, we are in the midst of an athlete, Charles.
A champion.
A champion athlete at that. That's really awesome. Oh man, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. Well, and then I guess one last question. What's your next? Utah's next? Is that what you're saying?
No, Utah was one I did this year.
What's next on your agenda?
So I'm kind of working through my off-season build right now, trying to just add more running volume. Sure. I did get an overuse injury in my foot, so I'm taking a few days off from running just to rehab a little bit. But next potential race would be back in Jacksonville, end of February. That's typically where the U.S. National Series for Spartans starts.
Well, that's cool. Jacksonville, Florida?
Yes.
Well, that's cool. We know all about Jacksonville, Florida, because our AEW.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
AEW, yeah, the hometown of AEW is in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not sure if you're aware.
I'm not familiar with AEW.
So AEW is the brand new, like 3-year-old wrestling promotion that is owned by a dude named Tony Khan, who is the part owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and a soccer team or a football team in London.
Fulham.
In London?
I don't know where it is, but it's Fulham
Okay.
FC.
Yeah. Over the seas. Yeah. So, and then during the when the pandemic first hit and nobody could go and do anything at all, they used Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium to host their events. And this wrestling promotion has done so well that WWE has taken note and has been trying to take them out by having Wednesday night wars, like AEW's premier spotlight shows on when they decided were going to be on Wednesday nights, and then so Vince McMahon decided to start showing one of his shows on Wednesday nights to try to take them out. And
that's interesting that a new league in any sport would be successful. I mean, you've seen the XFL fail twice.
They're trying to do it a third time.
Yeah, and what they tried to do a 3-on-3 basketball league. Hasn't the G League switched from the D League to the G League? And I mean,
well, and then like for basketball, the D League has become now part of the NBA.
Right, it's developmental, right? It's like the farm system, basically.
And you don't see any, I mean, baseball's played everywhere, but you don't see anything really competing against MLB at all.
Right.
And it gets to the point where teams get acquired by the MLB, like the Saints.
Yeah.
You know? Hopefully the Moondogs soon get acquired by the MLB.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool to see
that would be
Guzman
nice.
come down here or something. Guzman's not even playing anymore, I don't think.
No, that was like early 2000s.
Yeah, but we're talking about AEW. And so they came in, and a couple guys from the independents, Nick and Matt Jackson, and then a dude named Kenny Omega decided to start up their own company instead of being signed by WWE, and they're doing very well. And they just had their big pay-per-view Full Gear up at the Target Center up in Minneapolis, where the big world title was being displayed against Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page won, and yeah, it was pretty awesome. I went, and it was good.
I will give you my heart. I will give you my soul. I will give you every fiber of my being. I will give you my blood. I will give you my sweat. And one way or the other, I feel like I may give you my tears. The one thing, though, that I am 100% sure about is that at Full Gear, I will give you cowboy shit.
So that's Hangman Adam Page. He is the anxious millennial cowboy. And he started off in AEW, like him, the Jacksons, and Kenny Omega before AEW started up were best friends. They wrestled in New Japan Wrestling over in Japan and hung out together in the independents, and their team or their faction was called the Bullet Club, and they had a couple other players with them, and just, doing very well in the independents. And then so they all decided to create AEW. And Hangman Page said that he was going to be the first AEW champion, right? And he went up against this dude named Chris Jericho, who was a big name in WWE.
I've heard that name.
And one of the best wrestlers in wrestling history. And Hangman lost. Was not able to fulfill his need. Along with him losing, he was in the Bullet Club, kind of the lesser member of everybody. Everybody kind of made fun of him. They brought him in to be the fall guy. So when they were in tag teams, if they were going to lose the match, he would be the one that's taking the pin. So a lot of gaslighting, a lot of that type of shit. Yeah, we're your friend, but you're gonna get pinned.
Mm-hmm.
So he loses which makes him lose his confidence in himself, and he starts going to the bottle and drinking, and starts losing more matches, and starts falling even further. And then eventually
Kenny.
What's that? Oh yeah,
Kenny.
So they were. So then they tag team together, Kenny and Hangman, and Hangman kept on disappointing Omega by losing, and they're like the best tag team. They won the belts and everything, tag team belts, and then they ended up losing them because of Hangman's drinking. Basically, is what the storyline was saying, and so it felt really real for me too. Because I'm an anxious millennial as well that drinks a lot and has not a whole lot of confidence in himself sometimes, and so then he ended up taking some time off because he had a kid coming his way.
And during this time,
go ahead.
his friends, the Jacksons, became tag team champions, and Kenny Omega became the world champion while Hangman was alone and was nothing. And so then this group called the Dark Order was trying to court him for a very long time to join their faction.
Well, so the Dark Order faction saw that his best friends were kicking him to the side, and their leader had in real life actually just passed away, Brody Lee, and so they're looking for a new leader. They see that Hangman's kicked to the side by his best friends, and they're like, "Hangman, come hang out with us, man! Like, hang out with us, man, Hangman, right?" And he's like, no, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy to hang out with anybody. I'm gonna just drink. I'm just gonna drink. I'm gonna just drink. And then Kenny has the world title. His best friends have the tag team titles, and he's just lonely. And he takes time off and comes back, puts the bottle down, starts working hard. And last night or on Saturday he went against Kenny Omega and he won the belt. It was a great redemption arc. It was great. It was great storyline.
So does this Page guy, does he have any relation to Diamond Dallas Page?
He does not.
No? Okay.
No.
I know that name, too.
Diamond
I know
Dallas
a few
Page
old
is
wrestling
connected
names.
to AEW.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a great show. Great match, definitely. And then at the end of the match, the redemption arc, like the redemption of the whole story was that the Dark Order came out and they offered him a beer, and he slapped the beer away and gave them a hug.
Oh, wow.
And the story,
very subtle, perfect.
for him to win the championship, he didn't need drinks. He just needed friends.
Good message.
Right? Very awesome. Where does Hangman go from here? He defends his title.
Well, I don't
know what that kind of question that is.
Who do you think his next foil is, though?
I don't know what
think
that
it's
means.
Adam Cole.
What is a foil?
His bad guy.
What? What is his next bad guy? That doesn't make sense. Explain yourself, Charles.
Well, each babyface has to have a foil or a heel to face them. To
Micah, he's using a lot of terms here, which I don't think you understand.
Heel. I'm familiar with that one.
Okay, and babyface?
No.
And foil.
means good guy.
Okay. So so Hangman is a babyface, aka a good guy, and then what Charles is asking is what his next foil would be, which would be a heel, or a bad guy. So Charles is wondering who his next bad guy would be, and Daniel Bryanson. I don't know. I don't know where the storyline's going.
We've also talked about Malachi Black would be fun. I think that would the dark cowboy bit.
My main question is where does Omega go after he said this?
The Elite does not have any losers in our group.
Ooh.
He just lost.
Now they're all losers.
No, are they losers? He lost the title.
He lost, and the Young Bucks lost their titles too.
I'm
just saying maybe the whole Elite breaks up.
I don't know. Did they lose their titles at All Out? They didn't have the titles.
They lost it at All Out to the Penta and Rey Fenix.
Yeah, but that's a while ago now. They were already over that.
That's true.
No, what's going to happen is that they're going to kick out Omega and have Adam Cole as their new leader.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. Dave Meltzer noted that the Wrestling Observer Radio. Yeah. So they mentioned, and there's this video of him with his chiropractor that they put out right at Full Gear, right at the same time Full Gear started. They put out a video of Kenny going to his chiropractor a couple days prior, and he said that his shoulder was really out of shape, really bad shape. So, which means Hangman didn't win cleanly. His shoulder was broken the whole time. Yeah, that's what they released that the day of Full Gear. Why wouldn't that be part of that storyline?
Well, it sounds like in all actuality, they almost had to call off the match because of how bad Kenny's shoulder was. He can't lift very much. And they were trying to find ways to give him the belt without Kenny having to wrestle. But Kenny in the final moments was like, nope, I'm going to do this.
Well, he also says that he has vertigo really bad. And for him to train, he has to train in a spinning ring.
Wow.
What? Is that real or just part of the story?
That's what I'm saying. Is the shoulder real or just part of the story?
I mean,
I don't believe in the same breath he says that he has to train in a spinning ring because of his vertigo. And the same day they released the video with his chiropractor of Full Gear when Hangman wins, the same day they release that his shoulder's broken. I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot
for a rematch.
I think they're tricking a lot of us.
Could be.
See, and the thing with AEW is that they allow their wrestlers to have Twitch streams and vlogs on YouTube and all this personal stuff out there, and have their own branding and have their own T-shirt shops, and they don't take any proceeds from that. If they make money off their vlogs, that's fine. Keep it. With WWE, that's all WWE property, or if they want to be on Twitch, they have to get permission from WWE first.
Sure.
And then, so with that happening with AEW, as in tons of personal stuff being out there and vlogs and everything, they mix the line of reality and kayfabe. And kayfabe means they're fake. That's the word for their fake stuff. They blur that line so much. You don't know what's real.
Is that why they're successful, do you think?
It's part of it.
Extra successful?
It's part of it.
Yeah, it's because it's very real.
It's part of it because people are like, you get to know not just the character, but the real person behind it.
Sure.
You know? It's a really cool promotion. Malachi Black is also hurt. Oh, yeah. So that was AEW.
You have fun?
Yeah, I had fun.
Good.
This sound means that we're at the end of our episode, and we always end the episode with Fuzzy Memory Trivia. And Fuzzy Memory Trivia is when I ask the Hess questions, and then they answer the question with an answer that's not their opinion, but like the actual answer. That's how it's different from...
Like a fact?
Like a fact, yeah. I'll ask you questions that have facts as answers.
Oh.
Okay. It's called Fuzzy Memory Trivia, and it's currently 1-0 after 10 episodes, or 9 episodes, and now this is episode 10. So, Micah.
Yes.
How many Olympic... What?
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. How many Olympic basketball teams has Steve Nash played on?
Well, I know he's from Canada, but the answer can't just be one. I'm going to say 2.
Incorrect. Charles.
3.
Incorrect. 1.
No.
Oh, man.
Charles, who is the athlete who was banned for life from the Olympics in 2004?
God damn, we've had this before, and I have no clue who the answer is. I'm going to say Ted Koppel.
Incorrect. Micah.
I have no clue.
Incorrect. Dwayne Chambers.
Don't even know who that is.
Micah. Let's see here. How many goals did... No, I already did that one. I need more questions. Which veteran receiver was released by the Colts before the 2012 season?
Marvin Harrison?
Incorrect. C-dubs.
Oh, shit. He was the guy who used to show up in elaborate vehicles and stuff on, I can't remember his name. I don't know. Ted Koppel again.
Pierre Garçon.
Oh.
Yeah, Garçon.
Marvin Harrison was, I thought that was too late, 2012. But
Charles, on January 16th, 2010, Dwayne Wade became the Heat's career leader in what statistical category?
Assists.
Correct. Ding, 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 2 points. And that brings us to the end of Fuzzy Memory Trivia.
Dang it.
Charles has 2. Other has 0. And that brings us to the end of the episode. And we end the episodes with what we're going to do this next week and what we have planned. And it's going to be a while before we probably see you again. But if you want to come back, you can come back next week.
Love to come back anytime you want to have me. This was fun.
That was fun. What do you got going on? Oh, so you don't know when the next thing is going to be. Spartan race.
Right. Probably February, March, I would say. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to build up mileage this winter. Just get the base building done, as we call it. Do some work in the basement. Build up the legs more, do some climbing, and as I nurse this minor overuse injury, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the indoor bike and just, lifting some weights. But
I like it.
Yeah, that's kind of the focus now, but looking forward to an exciting season next year, and I'm hoping to continue to improve.
Charles, what do you got going on this next week?
Recovery.
Still, huh?
I'm going to have to just sit here for like a week.
I thought this was supposed to be easy.
It's pretty easy to just sit here.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Fuzzy?
I am going to say thank you very much for showing up to the studio, Micah. It was once again great to have you. This next week, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep on hanging out, being fuzzy.
FuzzJockRadio.
I will give you my heart. I will give you my soul. I will give you every fiber of my being. I will give you my blood. I will give you my sweat. And one way or the other, I feel like I may give you my tears. The one thing, though, that I am 100% sure about is that at full gear, I will give you cowboy shit.
The Elite does not have any losers in our group.
FuzzJockRadio.